Hello, everyone, and welcome to another three-man edition of the best sports podcast around, Call to the Bullpen. I am Jared Silberkleit.
And it's your boy, Chasey B.
And last but definitely not least, and definitely the best, Austin Keeney.
Hoorah! Everybody's here. Got another three-man band here, ladies and gentlemen, as it will be throughout the duration of the NFL season. And yeah, we've got Week 6 action to recap. We've got Week 7 action to preview. Before we get to that, just want to catch everyone up to speed a little bit real quick on baseball. ALCS Game 4 is going on right now. The Red Sox have jumped out to an early 2-0 lead. They have a 2-1 series lead on the Astros. Meanwhile, the Dodgers, they won 5-2 over the Brewers at home today in Game 5 of the NLCS. So that gives them a 3-2 edge in that series. And yeah, I mean, especially with the NLCS, now that we're 5 games deep in there, it's been a really great, tight back-and-forth series, a lot of close games, a lot of really good pitching on both sides. Kershaw pitched a gem for the Dodgers, and the Brewers' bullpen has pretty much been as advertised in the postseason. So, the Dodgers, we knew they had a streaky lineup coming in, but getting the timely hits, and so far they're 3 of the 4 that they need to get to the World Series, get back to the World Series after coming up short last year. And meanwhile, the Red Sox have been super impressive. So, Austin, looks like we're on track for Boston and LA at this rate, right?
Yeah, at this rate. And speaking of the LA Brewers matchup over there, it's actually really fun to see the type of baseball they're playing. It's really gritty. It's really nasty. They're kind of going at it with each other. They're talking some smack on and off the field. So it's fun to see the arguments and the competitive nature of the two teams. It's not just let's go out and play some baseball. There's a little bit of a rivalry kind of thing going on. Obviously I don't want to call it a rivalry, but they're getting down to that gritty baseball root of hard knock baseball.
Yeah, I mean, rivalries can certainly be born in the playoffs. We've seen it happen before, and I think that as a fan, especially when you're younger, like, you want to believe that the best, most talented players on your team and the opposing team really hate each other, because you see the other team as the enemy if you're a fan of that team. It's like you want to believe that, like, if you're a Dodgers fan, that Manny Machado and Christian Yelich, like the two kind of faces of each lineup, faces of each franchise, really don't like each other, and it's been that way with the smack talk. And when it
and both benches cleared yesterday, so I mean there was no fighting. There was a little bit of back and forth arguing, but like I said, it's fun to see that competitive nature coming out in those games,
without question. But I mean, it's been some quality baseball too. I mean, the Brewers have emerged with all those free agent acquisitions coming up as advertised, and the Red Sox and the Astros have pretty much been favorites all year, along with the Yankees. I think everybody kind of assumed we would see 2 of the 3 in the ALCS, and that's exactly what happened. So I think the Red Sox lineup has done some damage against Houston pitching, but I mean, as of recording, Game 4 has just gotten underway. We're only in the second inning, so we'll see if Houston can come back. But right now, the Sox have the advantage. So yeah, we'll see by the time we come back next week how each series has played out. So yeah, exciting time with the championship aspirations on the line. But now we are going to launch full force into NFL talk.
Before we launch full force, are you sure you want to join us with this? Because it's gonna be a little bit of a tough one for you Giant fans on this recap, because the first game we got, it's Giants against the Eagles, and
it was Giants against the Eagles.
Well, it didn't go so well.
It was a Thursday night.
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, let's just point out the fact that Jared picked the Giants to win this game.
Well, he had to.
I'm not the only one.
You don't have to. I picked the Eagles.
I'm not the only one. Well,
you are the only one that picked the Giants.
All right, on this podcast, yes. All right. Coming into this game, the Giants were coming off their best offensive performance of the season. They were catching the Eagles on a short week, playing at home. An Eagles team that had a ton of injuries coming into this game, and everybody all season long was saying, where are the defending Super Bowl champions? Where is this elite Philadelphia Eagles team? They showed up. They showed up Thursday night, and it wasn't even competitive. This was finally, after weeks of close losses, this was finally the we are the laughingstock of the NFL loss that Giants fans, it feels like it was a ticking time bomb at this point. Finally, they get the we are an utter embarrassment and a disgrace of a franchise loss. 34-13 at home, prime time. And go ahead.
Well, see, I understand your frustration, but
I'm just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it's just the thing is, you look back at the week before and you look how they played against Carolina, and this is going to sound rude, but I'm just going to say how it is. You thought that was your team. You thought that team was what the Giants could play as a season long, and that just wasn't the case. That was all they had against Carolina, and it still wasn't enough. Now you see that Eli just can't be that quarterback that throws for 300 yards. He's not going to be the guy that throws it downfield. It's just you almost got shammed by them on the week before.
Well, it's frustrating to say the least to have guys like Odell Beckham and Saquon Barkley on that offense and still fall short every single solitary game. It's sad. I mean, a lot of teams out there don't have, and I think a lot of people would classify Saquon Barkley at this point as a top tier running back. I don't think there's not a lot of teams out there that can say, yes, we have a top tier running back and one of the best wide receivers in the league. When Le'Veon Bell shows up, fine, you can count the Steelers in that, and there are a handful of other teams that you can count, but maybe on one hand. So to the fact that the Giants have
both of those
I get what you're saying.
And they're completely irrelevant right now.
You could even say you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback under the helm too. And you add those three players.
I mean, not right now, but in the past.
Yeah, and you're still 1-5, and it's the offensive line. You've had those troubles all year round. You've had them for the past few years, it seems like, and that's always going to be a problem. But I mean, the front office, they tried to fix it. They know it was the problem.
They did. And they had an overhaul.
And they're still trying. They dumped Eric Flowers. We talked about it last week. So, I mean, it's not like they're not trying. They're not sticking the same guys out there being like, well, you keep screwing up, so let's let you keep going.
Right. So can you be mad at the Giants? And if you can be, who are you targeting? Who are you targeting?
There are a lot of things. Because here's the thing. This is the thing that really has been so hard for me to accept. And I finally accepted it over the last week. As a New York sports fan growing up, you're used to your teams contending. When people say that your team sucks, they don't really mean your team is horrible. Like when people say, oh, the Yankees suck, how dare they? They lost a playoff series. They got to the playoffs. They had a great season. They got to the playoffs, and they lost to another really good team. The Giants suck. They narrowly missed the playoffs. Oh, they lost in the divisional round. Yeah, what a terrible team. No. Now, they are 4-18. 4-18 over the last two seasons. They have sunk to the bottom of the NFL. They are now the Cleveland Browns. They are a disgrace of a franchise. They have become an embarrassment. Their offense at times, most of the time, looks non-functional. And because here's the thing. Even if they were at the low end of people's expectations this season, they would have won this game this past Thursday. Want to know why? Because guess what? 6-10 is not a good season. Not a good season by any stretch of the imagination. But you know what that requires? That requires winning a handful of games. That means winning some games. They've won one game of their first 6. When you have an elite level running back, an elite level wide receiver, another wide receiver that's very good, a quarterback that's been there, done that in this league for the last 15 years. How many teams can even say that they have a franchise quarterback? They've got a defense that's coached by a guy who had success in Arizona, brought in some new personnel. And granted, I'm not pinning this entirely on the defense, but the secondary looks so overmatched and so just beat out there. They look like they can't catch up. Maybe they're getting tired. Maybe it's due to, coming back on the field continuously after all those 3-and-outs. But this season's a disaster. It's already over. Once again, another season of you wait all offseason waiting for the season to start. And by October, before we even get to the bye week, we're already talking about playing out the string. We're talking about, what's the draft going to look like? What about next season? That's what we said last year. And this is what we waited for. Another disaster, another disappointment. And, at this time, it is time to think about a quarterback change. Eli Manning, I'm not going to say it's entirely his fault, but I do think that the lack of an offensive line means that they need a more mobile quarterback in order to have any chance of being successful. And he is not that at this stage in his career. And I think that it's kind of impacted him mentally. He is not seeing the field as well as he should because the fact that he's under constant pressure, he's not even thinking about looking downfield. Maybe they need a guy who can roll out of the pocket. But they're not going anywhere with a 37, 38-year-old quarterback and this offensive line. So it is time to look elsewhere. But, man, all the changes they made and no results.
Yeah, it is quite unfortunate. So just to get to the recap there.
My Giants suck, everybody!
Here's your recap.
Eagles won this game.
They're the worst team in the NFL.
Eagles won the game 34-13.
Good for the Eagles fans.
I'll do it for you, Chase. And if anybody's counting our wins and losses on a tally, Jared still picked the Giants in that one. So we'll move on to the Buccaneers and the Falcons. Let Jared's blood pressure lower a little bit.
I had to get that out of my system. You want to know why, everybody? I'm just going to end this on this. The reason that you just heard all that is because I knew that this was the Giants' last hope of being in contention this season, and the fact that they lost this game means that it's over. They are at this point playing out the string, and my emotional investment has now disappeared.
No, it's now been pushed only to fantasy football, is what you should have said.
Exactly.
Speaking of fantasy football, Chase,
Saquon forever won again this week, everybody.
You got smoked.
Well, I went into the stack of Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, so
and Kareem Hunt.
You can say I got smoked.
You got smoked.
I bet anybody that faced that stack lost too.
Yup. Anyways, so Falcons, Buccaneers, Chase. Jared, the three of us, if I could speak tonight, the three of us all had the Falcons. The Falcons won this one 34-29. What do you guys got?
It was a good game. It was a really good game. It looked like Jameson Winston always was on the comeback trail.
Yeah.
But he kept him in. He looked good. I think that they definitely made the right move moving to Jameis out of Ryan Fitzpatrick's 4-week magic.
2-week.
2-week magic?
2-week magic, then 2 weeks of disaster.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So, yeah, I think that both teams looked, how you'd expect them to look. Really bad offenses, pretty good high-powered really bad defenses, pretty good offenses. Falcons win one, so that goes to 2-5, 2-4. Are we thinking the Falcons might have a shot coming back?
They certainly have the offensive firepower, but at 2-4, this is a really big hole to climb out of, especially when you're staring down the 4-1 Saints leading the division. So it's going to be difficult, especially considering that this defense hasn't really shown the capacity to stop anybody all season with all the injuries, and they just lost Devonta Freeman. So it's going to be difficult, but it's a team that's proven to be very good at home, if nothing else. So it's going to, they've dug themselves a big hole, but they've got the talent on offense.
All right, and again with that, the Falcons won 34-29. They moved to 2-4 on the season, and the Buccaneers to 2-3. So we will move on to the Seahawks and the Raiders. Chase, you had the Raiders. Myself, I also had the Raiders.
Yeah, that was a bad pick.
Yeah,
huh?
I know. Seriously, what was that about?
I think
maybe I had
did you guys forget that the game was in London?
I actually, if you do,
I had absolutely no idea.
If you listen to the podcast of last week, I actually did think this game was in Oakland. And that's because the time frame screwed me up. It was a 1 o'clock start time, which normally the London games are at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m.
True.
So I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, it's a normal time. It's not in London. I was wrong. And I'm not going to say that, gives me a break, but yeah.
No, you still lost.
Guys,
yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I had a little bit more faith in the Raiders. But yeah, the Seahawks smoked them 27-3.
There can be no faith in Gruden at all.
Well, the rumor on the trade mill right now is that literally everybody on the team is up for grabs.
Yeah,
literally everybody.
I've even read some speculation.
Not even like Derek Carr is going to stay. Like, whoever you want, give us an offer and we will listen. We don't care.
Yeah,
honestly, they might even trade Gruden away at this point if someone will pay his contract.
It's funny you say that because that'll be coming later today in our last segment. I have something about that.
That's a good. But what's really funny about this whole debacle for Oakland is the fact that they didn't arrive in London until the Friday before this game. They got there 2 days before the game. For an 8-hour time zone difference. Because remember, they're coming from California. What were they thinking? They look completely lifeless out there. They look like they were still jet-lagged and asleep. And they certainly couldn't stop Russell Wilson.
Wait, can you say that again? They came 2 hours early? Is that what you said? Or
2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
They arrived Friday. The game is Sunday. They're in California. They're going to London.
Was Luis Severino on their plane? Showing up 8 minutes before the game? What was that about?
Touché. Yeah, might have been.
Yeah, but Seattle's coming from Seattle.
But they didn't get there on Friday.
And what day did they get there? Wednesday?
Exactly. So it made a bit of a difference. But the Raiders could not adjust. And this nightmare of a season continues for them. Seahawks win 27-3. I was the only level-headed one of the bunch.
Yep. 2-1 for me.
Yes, sir.
All right, and Panthers, Redskins. I had the Redskins. Chase had the Redskins. Jared, Panthers. Were you riding that Giants win on the Panthers there? What's that?
It was a close game between two teams with about the same record, and somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. So that's
they lost.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the Panthers do this every year, and I believe I said this last week, but I'll reiterate it again. The Panthers lose games. They're not doing that fantastic Cam season where they're 15-1 or whatever.
It happened one time
in 2015. No. If the Panthers make the playoffs, it's 9-7. It's 10-6.
Well, I think this year they just have an offense that can put up points here and there because they have the speed, but at the same time, they can be stopped. It's kind of they're an ebb and flow team. McCaffrey and Newton again have the abilities with their feet, but they're not going to do that every week. They're going to have games here and there.
Tell you what, the Redskins now atop of the NFC East at 3-2. We weren't really thinking about this team before the season started. We thought they might be the bottom of the barrel, and they're at the top.
Well, I mean, Adrian Peterson's definitely been helping out over there. Another big game from him, and we said it last week. He's looking. I don't want to say he's looking like the Adrian Peterson of old. I mean,
he's had games where he's looked like it.
Correct. I mean, is he going to hold it up every single game? Who knows? But he's definitely looking better than he did in the last few years. So I mean, having him emerge there, and some other weapons really show up for Alex Smith. It's definitely been surprising out of the Redskins roster.
I mean, Alex Smith didn't light it up, but I think once again with the Panthers, this team is gonna when McCaffrey is going off, this offense is totally different. And this is a game where he was bottled up, 8 carries, 20 yards, and you saw the limitations. But the Redskins' schedule, we're going to see what they're made of because they got a lot of divisional games coming up, and the Cowboys and Eagles are starting to look like they've improved. Also in December, they have back-to-back road games against the Titans and the Jaguars when potentially both those teams could be hitting their stride heading into the postseason. So it's very possible that Washington could still finish 7-9. I'm not really sold on them yet, but nonetheless, they are atop the division at this point.
And again, the Redskins win that one 23-17, improve to 3-2. Panthers go down to 3-2. The next one we have is the Cardinals at the Vikings. All three of us had the Vikings winning this one. They pulled it off for us 27-17 against the Cardinals. What do we got?
It wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, to be quite honest.
I thought a complete blowout, honestly. I thought it was going to be crazy.
This is one of those games where, the Vikings, I don't know, I mean, the offense is definitely better with Kirk Cousins, but it's weird. I feel like last year at times the offense was a little bit more explosive than what we've seen this year, but at the same time, they handled their business. This is a game that you just flat out, when you start off kind of a disappointing start, 2-1, you can't afford to drop games like this, so that's what they did.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of strange to see also, because if you just look at the stat line, other than Kirk Cousins' touchdowns, but I mean, you have Murray with 155 yards and a touchdown. You have Thielen with another 100-plus yard game at 123 and a touchdown. Guys were getting yards. There was a lot of offense to be had. Yet you can't even really say it was garbage points, because it really wasn't. They didn't score in the fourth quarter at all. So it was kind of weird to see these guys put up a lot of yards and a lot of stats and not really have the points to show for it.
Yeah, a lack of finishing it off is definitely could be seen. The Cardinals, they like to be.
Well, this is just kind of the situation where you go up by a lot early, and then you just kind of rest on your defense.
Exactly, you kind of take your foot off the pedal. I agree. The Vikings, however, I still don't think that they're not up to hype yet. They haven't shown me that they can really be a deep playoff team.
Yeah, that part, it's been disappointing so far for them. I mean, the same thing with Green Bay, because they won this week. Wasn't overly impressive.
So, God, that game was...
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But nonetheless, the Vikings get back on the winning track. At the end of the day, win's a win. They got to get they have 2 months to get into postseason form, so... Yeah. Next up, we had the Colts at the Jets, and the Jets have a pulse, everybody. They're 3-3.
Yeah, the Jets, they get a couple home games, couple wins, and all of a sudden they're in second place in the AFC East, only down a game.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, they could have been the Bears and the Dolphins and Chiefs and the Pats. Those were 2 tough games. I think I said last week that going in, we could have potentially had a tie between every team atop that division. That didn't happen, but the Jets are certainly alive and well, especially with divisional games still coming up. And they're putting up points with a rookie quarterback.
The Patriots look good, but I have to say, looking at the AFC East division, this might be the first year where they might not just have it wrapped up after week 6.
No, not at all. They're still tied with Miami.
They're still tied with Miami. Jets are only a game behind, and they look good on offense. Sam Darnold's actually, for a guy that starts off his NFL career with a pick 6, Sam Darnold actually looks halfway decent.
It's the best way you could have started it off. You can really only go up from there. So,
Well, the rest of that game, he looked great.
Yeah, no, he looked incredible. So, definitely nice to see him getting out there and playing well and leading a Jets team that didn't have a lot of expectation coming into the season, really going somewhere with this. So, we'll have to keep an eye on them and see if they could pull out the division lead there. So with that one,
I think they'll take a wild card spot at this point.
Yeah, probably. So the Jets with a 42 to 34 win. Myself and Jared both had the Jets. Chase, you had the Colts. We'll move on to the Bears and the Dolphins. Dolphins pulled this one out 31 to 28 against the Bears.
Not only did they pull it out, but they didn't have Ryan Tannehill. They pulled it out with Brock Osweiler.
Oh, God.
I know.
That's
Brock
right,
Osweiler
Chase.
haunts
That's
me
right.
again.
Welcome
to Brocktober, everyone. Saw that all over the place.
Mr. Bronco fan over there, not very happy. I think
Not a Bronco fan.
I think the biggest notable point for the Bears in this game is Khalil Mack was playing with a little bit of an injury. I think it was his knee, his ankle, somewhere in that lower region of the leg there. And this was the first time that defense has allowed 30-plus points this season. So, I mean, is he that big of an intimidation factor in the secondary that he's really stopping teams from scoring a lot against them?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a terrific season so far, but the combination of, first of all, Albert Wilson, what a game he had with, hauling some deep bombs and, scoring twice, 155 receiving yards on 6 catches. And Frank Gore, the ageless wonder.
Oh, my God. Frank Gore will not go away.
He will not go away. He will not go to the retirement home. He put up 100 yards on the ground, even though he's like 36 years old, I think, 35 maybe.
I feel like he's like 45.
No. He's not as old as you'd think. But nonetheless, I mean, he's having kind of a little renaissance at times this season. And the Dolphins getting production out of him, getting production, again, out of Osweiler, throwing for nearly 400 yards. They pulled this one out without their starting quarterback against a rested, quality defense and in overtime. So this was a gutsy win for them. Everybody kind of thought their season was going off the rails, but now Miami, they're back on the winning track, 4-2. Tied for the division lead. They don't have the tiebreaker over the Pats, but they're going to get them again in their house later in the season. So, Miami, their playoff hopes are still alive and well.
And Brock gets to start again this week, too, so we get to really see if this was a fluke or not.
Sure does.
Most likely it's Brock Osweiler. So we'll move on to the Chargers and the Browns. I had the Browns to win this one. Chase, with the little dog pound pep talk over there, kept me on the Browns.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Not the best.
I mean, listen, I'm still...
We had to come back down to earth a little bit.
I'm still holding on to the Browns. But yeah, Chargers pulled this one out by a margin of 38-14.
This is where you remember that, listen, we love seeing Baker Mayfield have this early success, and we love getting excited over the idea that the Browns might finally have a franchise quarterback. He's still a rookie. He's still going to have games like this. He's still going to have those growing pains. And, he made mistakes here, plain and simple. And the Browns defense had pretty much their worst performance of the season. And, yeah, I mean, the Chargers, here's the thing. They've had the talent all season long. There's too much talent on this roster for them not to eventually have a game like this. And, it just kind of came at Cleveland's expense. It's a young and experienced team, and they just got overwhelmed.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, like you said, we're all definitely excited on the Browns side here. It's fun to see them win, but you're definitely right. You're going to have games like this. You're going to lose, and sometimes you're going to lose big. And it's not like this was too a fluke of a team either. The Chargers definitely have the bodies and the manpower to win games and win games big. So, nothing on the Browns here, just one of those games that you got to lose. So the Browns move down to 2-3-1. Chargers move up to 4-2. We will move on to the Steelers and the Bengals.
This was a great game.
Yeah, myself and Chase had the Bengals. Jared, you had the Steelers in this one.
Yep.
But definitely a really good game. I mean, it was back and forth the whole game, and it was definitely interesting to watch.
This is a great game to watch.
How about that final drive?
Yeah, this
Big
was
Ben,
awesome.
everybody.
Yeah, no, Big Ben and Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown's waiting for a score like that.
And not only was it them, but it was James Conner.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the week that Le'Veon Bell's about to come back. He's supposed to come back on the bye. If anybody hasn't heard, he hasn't come back yet.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't
They're
showed
still
up.
waiting.
Now they're talking about a couple more weeks, the 28th or something like that.
But either way, before this game, the idea was that Le'Veon Bell was coming back, and James Conner was going to take the backup role. And I bet you James Conner was like, I'm not taking the backup role. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I can do. Yeah, exactly. Rushes for crazy amount of yardage, 111 and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the Steelers are rolling, and they look much better than they did to start the year.
I mean, this is where you remember that they still have a ton of offensive firepower, and the defense has been pretty much a sieve all season. They finally put together a good enough performance against Cincinnati in a game again, I feel like we've said this multiple times about the Steelers, but that's because they dug themselves an early hole. This is a game that you had to win. You could not allow Cincinnati to go to 5-1, and the Ravens, they're 4-2, and then you sink to what is it?
It would have been 2-3-1, I think.
Yeah, 2-3-1, exactly. That's a huge hole for yourself, dropping divisional games this early in the season. They knew that they had to step up, and they put together this final drive. They're down by a point, and it's one of those situations where, they get so deep into Cincinnati territory that's like, oh, this is great. You can sit on the ball, run the clock down, bomb to, Antonio Brown just goes off up the middle and just keeps running, gets in the end zone. They get that emphatic go-ahead touchdown. That's huge for this team. Now they're heading into the bye week feeling good about themselves, firmly back in the divisional race. Now you got a win over Cincinnati, so if you tie with them, I mean, Cincinnati didn't have a tie, but...
Yeah, no, actually, I love the play call that they had there, the little slant screen pass they did. Very smart. And also, we get used to NFL kickers making every kick, but... If you look at this year, NFL kickers have not been making.
You can't trust them. You can't trust them as far as you can throw them.
Yeah, or as far as they can kick them. It's definitely it's been a weird year for the kicker this year. For the year of the placeholder, I've heard it been called. It's been strange.
Sure.
But yeah, I really like the Steelers and the way that they're going. I still think the Bengals are strong, and
the Ravens I like more too. But
yeah.
But, the Steelers, again, they're not looking like the most complete team. But, again, it's early in the season, and they're still in contention. That's what matters.
Big win for the Steelers here.
Bills at Texans. The Texans also have a pulse. They're tied for the division lead. What happened to 0-3?
0-3 to 3-3, baby.
I'm just saying they had to win out.
From worst to first, 0 to hero.
We keep saying it. Said they were going to be in the Super Bowl.
Well, you pumped the brakes a little bit. They beat the Bills.
They won a game, unlike the Giants.
Yeah, and the Bills beat the Vikings. Let's not forget.
All right, now we're going to go to the Team X beat Team Y. Therefore, Team Y beats Team C.
Footballception.
But I'll tell you what, the Texans had a chance to lose this game, and they got lucky. Do we know why they got lucky? Go ahead.
Why? Go ahead.
Nathan Peterman.
Oh, yep.
took a snap on the field, and as soon as that happens, the interception rate goes up about 500%.
He was in there for half a game through 2 picks.
And the pick 6 lost it for him.
The pick 6.
I mean, these are basic reads. He's telling his guys to run curl routes, and he's staring down his outside receiver, and the cornerbacks are just licking their chops. It's just crazy. I don't know how this guy has a job.
Peterman has been an interception machine. And now that Allen's down, they knew they were going to lose the locker room if they started this guy. They know that this guy is incapable of starting. He's an insurance policy on that roster only. They had to go and sign Derek Anderson and give him the ball. So
not only did they sign him, he's starting this week.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly, because they knew
a guy that walked off the street.
Yeah. No. Peterman has been an embarrassment. I mean, he had that 5-pick performance last year, then that disastrous performance in the season debut. I mean, people thought that the Bills were going to be the worst team in the NFL based solely on this guy. I mean, they might put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some guys out there that are looking for a job. So I mean, who knows? Maybe the Bills will try to pick somebody up or trade away for someone. Depends how long Allen is out for. I've heard it's just week to week at this point, so it shouldn't be too long.
As for Nathan Peterman, I mean, hey man, Orange Ale House. I think they're looking for some
some barbacks,
for bussers.
Yeah, shout out Jim. Thanks for the gift card. Anyways, we'll move on to the Rams and the Broncos. Rams squeaked this one out.
They did.
Unfortunately, against Chase's Broncos.
Yeah, listen, I'm the Bronco guy here, so I'll go first. I'm okay with this. I mean,
you said you were going to be.
Yeah.
You literally said if the Broncos lose, I'm really not
I'm
that
fine with this.
about
The
it.
Rams are 6-0. They're probably, the Super Bowl favorite at this point.
Of course.
I mean, they're a
And
Super Bowl favorite to start the season. So.
yeah. And the Broncos, they always play tough at home. They played hard. They didn't quit. Case Keenum ended up getting a touchdown to DT in the end zone.
They did get gashed on the ground, though.
Oh, don't eat. The rush defense is horrible. Start your running backs against the Denver Broncos. I mean, 200 yards to Bilal Powell 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I will never forget.
Isaiah Crowell.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Isaiah
it was
Crowell.
100 to Bilal Powell and 200 to Isaiah Crowell.
And
now another 200
At least
to
this
Todd
is more
Gurley.
respectable, though. Like, okay, you surrendered 200 yards to one of the best in the game. So
Yeah. Broncos defense looks atrocious. I'm not worried about them. I've moved on. Look, I'm like you with the Giants.
Yeah, we've all moved on.
It's a lost season, but I'm
rolling for the Chiefs this year, so I don't sleep on the couch
I'm going to say this
anymore.
about the Rams, though. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that any of us have ever doubted Todd Gurley. I certainly haven't. But throughout this season, the first few weeks, we've kind of been getting the bare minimum performance from him, and that's because they've experienced so much success in the passing game with so many great receivers that are delivering. And finally, they came to the game where they needed Todd Gurley to be that guy to put the team on his back. And he proved why he's as good as he is, why he is capable of being that 3-down back to carry his team to a win. And this just adds so much depth to the Rams, knowing that they could beat you in different ways. The fact that, hey, if Goff isn't having his best days, bottled up a little bit by a tough defense on the road, in a tough environment, you just give it to Gurley and have him pound that rock up the middle for 200 yards, and they still won. So they're 6-0, and they deserve to be 6-0.
Yeah, and the Broncos unfortunately dropped to 2-4 on the season with that 23-20 loss.
That's 4 losses in a row?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Don't be so defeated. We're Giants fans. Ravens at Titans. I pulled for the tie. I was exactly 21 points off from the tie. It would have had to end 0-0.
It could have been a tie if the Titans scored.
Yeah, exactly. If the Titans put up a couple points. So
Ravens put up 11 sacks. 11.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
This game, there's not much to talk about. The Titans are absolutely terrible, and the reason why I say this...
Hey, come on. The Ravens, after this game, have the top-ranked defense in the NFL. Let's give credit to Baltimore for playing that tough-nosed brand of football that they're known for. They've always been known for. Ever since this team has existed, they've been known for one thing, and that's physical smash-mouth defense.
Yeah, but I'm not shocked by it. I think we knew
They
that...
shut them out. They shut out a professional team.
Okay, it happens.
A shutout, it's rare.
Not really.
Pretty rare.
It's happened 2 or 3 times this year
Yeah,
already.
I think it's already happened twice, yeah.
Not to a good team, though.
But
the Titans aren't good.
That's the point. The Titans
They're
aren't
annoying.
good.
Coming into
They're
this,
only annoying.
yeah, they're annoying, but they've shown moments of being good. I will say that Mariota at some points can be put up or shut up for him, but this is a defense that's been pretty consistent this season. And I'm not saying that it was the defense's fault that they lost this game. 21 isn't a disaster, but yeah, you need more out of your offense than 0 points. So
I mean, to put it into perspective, Marcus Mariota led the team in rush yards with 25, and he ran the ball twice.
He also led them in pass yards with 117.
Well, I mean, I would hope. If not, Odell Beckham was
Odell,
going to.
all right, you stole my line. I was gonna go.
And
right.
next question.
Yeah, exactly.
But
With that one, no, there's no more. No. Jaguars, Cowboys. We all had the Jaguars.
And
we were all wrong. We were not only wrong, we were foolishly wrong.
Well, we didn't realize that the Cowboys were actually a superpower on offense and could just dismantle the high
superpower on offense.
But hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. 40-7.
Yeah, Dak went Super Saiyan. I don't really know what happened.
40-7 against the Jaguars defense.
I mean, Conor McGregor was on the field prior to this game. He got the team all fired up and hyped up.
He throws better than Eli does.
Maybe.
Throws better than Bortles does. That's
fair.
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
fair.
Yeah.
This was bad. This was bad for the Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars were...
They lost 2 in a row now.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be the elite, if not one of the elite defenses in the league, and you gave up 40 to the Cowboys.
Now, I'm gonna bring up something here. were we all too high on the Jags this season, and was it just a 1 year thing?
No, because we had talked about earlier in our preseason or our regular season preview all of the injuries that were going on. I mean, they lost wide receivers, they lost defensive guys, and now they haven't had Leonard Fournette, which, I mean, it really isn't the worst thing on the planet, but he's still
it is for this.
I think it is the worst thing in the planet.
Listen, when you have a team that has Blake Bortles as a starting quarterback, and you have a pretty, again, a receiving core that had been overachieving the first few weeks, but still, it's limited.
Injured.
You've got some
very injured.
Well, you've got some, B receivers because you don't have Marquise Lee out
Correct.
there. You got, your D.D. Westbrooks of the world. They were performing about as well as you reasonably could have expected. But as far as us being a little too hyped up on Jacksonville, I'll say this: they lost a narrow defensive divisional game to the Titans. Happens. Rivals play each other tough. They lost to the Chiefs. I think a lot of people expected that going in, and I figured, looking at their schedule, that was one of the few games I saw them losing the rest of the year. This is the only alarming loss that I've seen, and I do think that if this team, plays up to its caliber, that they're not going to lose many games the rest of the way. It just looks kind of meh right now, but I still think that they're the favorites in the division.
We're gonna have to check the tape here. I think it was week 1 or week 2. Might have even been the preview show for the NFL season. I said there's a strong chance that the NFC or AFC South go 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, or 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8.
I think you said that about the AFC North, actually.
I said it about somebody.
Yeah.
And right now,
we'll figure out who.
The Titans are 3-3, the Jags are 3-3, and the Texans are 3-3. So yeah, that'll be fun to play out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And with that, the Jaguars go to 3-3, Cowboys 3-3. Chiefs Patriots, what a shootout this game was. I mean, my lord, it was just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Oh, Patriots scored one throw, Chiefs score.
Well, actually, what happened was the first half was 17-9 or something like that. The Patriots
24-9.
24-9.
Because Patrick Mahomes got picked.
Yep. No, the Patriots' red zone defense was stellar. Kept them out of the end zone 3 or 4 times. Held them to field goals. Held them to a couple picks. And you were thinking, oh man, Pat's got this on lock. They figured out Mahomes. And then the Mahomes show began in the second half.
Everything that we've seen the rest of the season.
And in that Chiefs defense could not hold him again.
Well, no, yeah, I don't expect you to hold the Patriots defense, especially because the Chiefs defense
offense.
Yeah.
What did we see? One punt this whole game?
Yeah, one punt.
Yep.
But anyway, I think that the Chiefs defense is never going to hold anybody, especially Tom Brady.
And they have to outscore people.
If
you can't outscore people putting up 40, something else needs to be fixed.
Well, you got Eric Berry on injury, so he's coming back pretty soon, I hope. And I think Justin Houston also didn't play, and that's your best pass rusher.
Yeah, and they're talking a few rumors here and there in the trade world, and obviously, we don't know exactly how legit these are. But they're talking about potentially Patrick Peterson in a trade to the Chiefs for a couple draft picks. It would be interesting to say the least because, he's getting up there, and by the time the Cardinals are relevant to put Patrick Peterson into a position to win anything, he's going to retire, kind of like Larry Fitzgerald. So it would be interesting to see him come over to the Chiefs where they really
need help. They need defensive help.
The Cardinals have shown or have said that he is on the trade block or they're open to calls. So that would be interesting. Sure. I think that would really, if they like to play zone. Patrick Peterson's more of a man-to-man guy, so I think that they'd have to switch his play style a little bit. But Andy Reid's pretty good with player personnel, so I can see that working out.
Yeah, be the help that they needed. I got to say this on this game, though, because this is one of those games where it just becomes narrative city depending on what happens. And now everybody's saying, oh, look, the Patriots have just proven that they are the best team in the AFC with this win. We didn't learn a single thing about either team that we didn't know going into this game. We knew each team had a high-powered passing offense that could put up a ton of points, and neither team played any defense whatsoever, and exactly what I said was going to happen happened, which is the last team with the ball won the game. If this game was 63 minutes instead of 60 minutes, the Chiefs probably would have won. That's the way this game was going. They're just trading scores back and forth, and to me, this doesn't, add an extra dimension to the Patriots, either their legacy all time or their legacy this season. You've got two teams that that can put up a ton of points, and they can't stop anybody. And over time in the NFL, over the years, that's proven to not be all that sustainable as far as winning a championship goes. So, no, I don't buy that the Patriots are suddenly back to being the juggernaut that they supposedly are every year. I'm not on that gravy train.
That's a great point, Jared. That's a great point.
And with that, the Chiefs go to 5-1. That was their first loss in the season. So the Rams are now the only undefeated team in the NFL. And the Patriots move on to 4-2.
Yes, if you check our Instagram page, you would see that the Rams are the only undefeated team left.
Correct.
Because we said so.
Yeah, because we said so. Because it's on the internet, so it's got to be true. Yeah. Check out our Instagram. So I might as well plug it at this point. Check out the Instagram at Call to the Bullpen, Facebook at Call to the Bullpen, Twitter at Call the number 2, the word the, and the letters BP. So to sum that up, Call to the BP. Yep. And every other social media, YouTube, and everything else that we're on, which we'll go over again later. And for the last game of the week,
the Packers won an absolute nail-biter. The Super Bowl contenders just narrowly beat out the team with the backup quarterback playing at home on Monday night.
Yeah. I've got a serious problem with this game, and I was texting you guys.
Go ahead.
First of all, let me start off with the Packers. I've always had a soft spot for the Packers. I'm not going to say that they're my favorite team because I love the Broncos, but I used to love watching Brett Favre back in the day, and I love watching...
You're also a Madden Aaron Rodgers guy,
yeah.
So that's probably...
I also love Aaron Rodgers, too, just because I like to see the pure talent of just throwing the ball crazy.
Sure.
Now, here's my problem. Their defense is terrible. Mm-hmm. Now, we just talked about the Chiefs and the Patriots, how they both have terrible defenses. Here's the difference. Aaron Rodgers has got, he's got Devontae Adams. He's got a really old Jimmy Graham who he really hasn't utilized very much. And that's it. He's got nobody on the offensive side to help him out. The Packers aren't going further this year than probably the first or second round. They're just not. They don't. I know people think, Aaron Rodgers, he's so good. He's got to get another ring. Just like Breeze. Breeze has only got one ring. It's not happening this year.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you said first or second round because here's the thing. When you look at the NFC, you've got a lot of... You don't really know who's real and who's not at this point. You know the two teams are real right now. The Rams and I'd say the Saints. And the Saints, we all know that their playoff fate lives and dies by their seeding. The Rams are certainly looking like the most complete team in the league. Everybody else has been a gigantic question mark. A gigantic question mark, including the teams in their own division. Let's not forget that the Packers Vikings are they're a tie out of first place right now, and looking up at the Bears who look pretty good but not world beaters. So I think it's a little too early to say, oh, this team has no chance of going deep. But yeah, right now it's not looking great. Their defense is looking very problematic.
I'm a Denver guy, so I like defense. Best defense.
They got none of it.
Best defense in the league right now, the Ravens.
Yes.
All I'm saying, could be a sneaky Super Bowl pick.
100%. I would actually be tempted almost to go with Baltimore as the top AFC pick at this point, especially if you're a guy that doesn't have confidence in Kansas City or New England due to defensive issues. Ravens, if you said that they're the top in the AFC right now, wouldn't really argue against it.
And that'll end our recap of Week 6 of the NFL season. We'll move on to our Week 7 predictions. We will start with Chase's Broncos since we started with our Giants. Chase, we'll let you lead this one. Broncos at Cardinals.
The Broncos are not going 2-14 this season.
Yeah.
So they got to win a game. And who are they going to beat? They're going to beat the Cardinals.
I agree. Yep.
That's my analysis for you.
Listen, Denver, they still have a talented defense. We were all singing their praises a few weeks ago.
I don't know if we're singing their praises.
Well, to an extent. Listen, they started 2-0, and all of a sudden people have thought that, okay, this is a team that, we're generally going to pick if they're playing at home, that sort of thing, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and we lost to the high-powered Chiefs. We lost to the high-powered Rams.
You just gave the Rams a game. Very much a game.
Yeah. I know. We lost to the Chiefs by, 3 or 4, something like that. It was another close one-score game. So we're there. We're competitive. We're going to beat the Cardinals, and now I said that probably won't watch. But anyway...
They've got the pass rush to get. It's always whenever a rookie quarterback faces that, really aggressive pass rush. It's like they're feeling the hurt in the NFL for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I see this going down that way, especially like, you got this rookie quarterback with only a few days preparation. How's he going to respond? So, yeah, I like Denver to win this one. Might not be a blowout, but I think that the defense will take care of it.
17-10 or 14-10.
Yeah, you might actually be. I would say like 20. I'll give him 20-ish.
Oh, that's nice of you. Case Keenum doesn't deserve 20.
That's fair. He does have more interceptions than he does touchdowns this year, so we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, no, I'm definitely on the Broncos for the pretty much the same reasons. I mean, it's hard to argue any other reasons to pick the Broncos in that one.
Yep. So next up, we have the Titans and the Chargers in London, old chap. Who we got?
So I want to understand something from you real quick, and ignore your accent, by the way.
Cheerio.
Yeah, cheerio, mate.
A cup of tea and a crumpet.
You give me and Austin crap for taking the Browns against the Chargers.
You're right.
But you're going to take the Titans, who just put up a goose egg.
They've been waiting.
Zip.
They've
zilch,
been waiting
against the Chargers. I don't understand.
Because weird stuff happens in London, Chase. That's why.
It's like an alternate dimension for NFL football.
Are they playing in the Bermuda Triangle?
You know what? If you talk,
will the Giants win in London?
You know what? They just might. I'm actually disappointed that they're not playing in London this year. But if you talk, hey,
God damn it! Someone switch that schedule.
Yeah,
send them to London.
Exactly. It's certainly more home fans there this season. But yeah, no, the Titans. I think that this is a team that honestly their defense has been much more consistent than the Chargers this season. And Mariota, I know, like we said, we're waiting, eventually put up or shut up. I think that the Chargers have shown enough gaps, especially in kind of uncharted territory. It's, a really long road trip for them, going all the way from the West Coast to London. So the Titans, I feel like, they've been skidding a little bit. Now they're tied for the division lead, a three-way tie. So this is a game where you don't want to fall behind, especially with the Texans. When you know that the Texans and the Jags are playing each other, you know that one of those teams has to win. Well, maybe not this year. It could be a tie. But either way, it's a big opportunity for the Titans, and I think that they are going to get back on track. They again, they've been skidding a little bit, and I think they got to get one.
I disagree entirely.
Yeah, completely. I mean, the Chargers have actually looked good this year.
Against bad teams!
They've still won, regardless of the team.
You know who doesn't win against bad teams?
The Giants.
The Titans beat the Jaguars. The Titans beat the Jaguars, everybody, and the Eagles.
Apparently everybody beats the Jaguars this year.
Yeah, right? Jaguars are the new Giants.
Let's not go that far.
Yeah,
easy.
Right.
All right.
They did get Eric Flowers, though.
Rack.
You know what? Maybe I need to start picking against the Jaguars for the rest of the year because they decided to sign personal Flowers to a contract. Yeah, they did because Tom Coughlin's all like, the kid had it wrong.
That's a Tom Coughlin guy right there.
Is.
Yeah, because Tom
Isn't
Coughlin.
that like their GM's nephew or some crap like that?
That was
dumb reason.
No.
Mara or whatever his
You
name
are
is.
thinking of Chris Snee from way back in the day,
Yeah,
and he was actually good.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, the Chargers are going to win this one. The Titans are obnoxious, and I don't think I'll ever pick the Titans just because I hate them. I literally just don't like them.
Good.
It's like
you've come over to the good side.
Oh no,
of things.
I've never liked the Titans. I watched them kick a game-winning field goal
Just
with 3
because you
seconds
don't like
left.
them doesn't mean that they're going to go 3-13.
I watched them kick a game-winning field goal with 3 seconds left in the Titans Chiefs game last year in negative 15-degree weather, and I sat through that whole damn game
just to see your
with every
Chiefs
drink that I
lose.
was getting freezing. The computer's freezing in the stadium. I spent $150 on blankets and sweatshirts just to see them kick a game-winning field goal. They're obnoxious, so I will never pick them. They're almost in line with Joe Flacco for how much I hate them.
Very good. I
So,
like it.
The Chargers, everybody. Patriots at Bears.
This is going to be a great game because it's in Chicago. If it was in Foxborough, I think that they might have they might have a blowout. But it's in Chicago. I wanted to take the Bears here. I did, but I think the Patriots are just about finding themselves as a team on offense. And Josh Gordon, I think he's going to become a number one guy for Tom Brady.
I agree. I think that the Patriots are going to be able to ride the momentum from outscoring what had been, to that point, the AFC's most prolific offense in Kansas City. And on top of that, I mean, let's not discount Mitchell Trubisky. He has been playing much better over the last couple of weeks than he was to start the season. But this is just, again, for a building offense, I think it's a very tough matchup for Chicago. It's a tall task to ask them to outscore the Pats. Although, if they are going to win, it's going to be at home. I wish this game was later in the season though, because this is one of those 0 degrees in Chicago. Let's see who the toughest team really is.
Yeah,
type thing.
this could be the game of the week. I honestly think the Bears could really play the Patriots tough, and we could see something special.
Hey, here's the thing: their defense has the potential to create havoc, and the Pats can't stop anybody.
I want to watch Khalil Mack rain down on Tom Brady.
I would have such a catharsis if Khalil Mack's able to drive Brady into the ground,
and not get personal flowers.
Yeah, that would be a landing your body weight on the quarterback.
I'm sorry.
penalty.
What did I say? Sorry, NFL officiating staff. Don't penalize me.
15-yard penalty, Jared.
Wheel of punishment.
There you go.
Next up, we got the Bills at the Colts. We all got the Colts here. I mean, are we just not jumping on the Bills just because they're
I don't know,
Bills?
Chase. I mean, it's something about plucking Derek Anderson off the street and slapping him in the game just doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
Wow.
If you're going to play a defense, playing the Colts defense isn't so bad.
Yes, true. But the Colts still put up 34 on the road against the Jets. Now they're heading home against the Bills, who, even at their best, haven't exactly been.
Wouldn't it be so NFL-like for Derek Anderson to come in and just lead this team to a road victory? That's just what happens in the NFL. That's why I love it. It's so crazy. You really can't predict it.
No, I agree. And honestly, if it is going to happen, it would happen against a team like Indy.
Yep, because they just don't have the strength on defense. But we all got the Colts here. There's not much else to say. We really got to see what Derek Anderson's got in order to talk about it. It's gonna be,
of course.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I mean, we're feeling Indy, but this isn't one of those cases like, the Bills have no chance. If they win, they might win. The Colts aren't good, so they could certainly lose again.
Yep.
Next up, my have to win out to make the playoffs. Texans and Jaguars. I was gonna go on the Jags because, it kind of makes sense. Texans got to win out. Can't go against the bet. Yeah. Texans are winning out.
Yeah,
here we go, Houston.
The Jags aren't going to drop another game, I don't think, especially not at home. The Texans have been struggling. I know they won the last 3 games, but they haven't been good wins. They've been really just nail biter.
And this offense just hasn't looked right this season. I mean, they've done enough to win these games the last few weeks, but they still haven't looked as explosive as they should be. It's just like the Giants thing. You got all the weapons right there, but you can't use them.
Well, this is just what happens. Rookies come into the NFL and they light the world on fire. Now you're seeing it with Patrick Mahomes, and although he's not a rookie, this is his first time playing in the NFL. It's the first time that defensives have been able to
You're talking about
see
Deshaun
him.
Watson, by the way, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying Patrick Mahomes is lighting it up because this is what Deshaun Watson did last year, if you remember.
Right.
He lit up the NFL. So I'm saying is defenses, they learn the players' characteristics and they learn how to defend against them, and that's why I don't think the Houston Texans are having such success this year.
Well, also their offensive line stinks.
Yeah, but I mean, you got a mobile quarterback. He can make plays with his feet.
He can make plays, but he can't totally.
He's got the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Well, at least the best wide receiver that scores touchdowns, because Julio Jones doesn't score touchdowns. And they've got a competent defense with J.J. Watt and Merciless and
Watt is not. He's kind of a
Clowney.
shell of what he once was. They got the talent on defense, and the defense hasn't been horrible this season. But again, they just haven't been they have not delivered at their peak on either side of the ball. But, I mean, that being said, the talent is still there, and they've done enough to remain competitive. But
that's a great point that you make, though. We haven't seen this team play to its potential, really.
No.
And maybe this is the game. Maybe they come out in this division game and they show us what we all thought that we were going to see, especially Austin thought he was going to see this entire year. It'll be a close game.
I just think this is like the game where Saxonville can come alive. It's a great matchup for this defense going against this offensive line, going and getting after Deshaun Watson. And again, it's a game that they really need to have. This team is too good to lose 3 games in a row.
We've all got Jacksonville here. I'm sorry, Austin changed his to the Texans.
Yeah, got to stick with the winning out Texans. So here we go, Houston.
And if the Jags lose, it's going to be Eric Flowers' fault, everybody.
Wait, do I smell a wheel of punishment bet?
Oh, God.
Oh boy.
Spin the wheel.
Well, we have to get more involvement from the community.
We're keeping
here.
the tallies, though.
We're keeping the tallies, so when we get enough, we'll run it. But yeah, no, I guess I'll go with it. I have to.
He
I
has
said
to
they
go
were
with
gonna
the
win
Texans.
out.
I feel like I backed you into that one.
You completely backed me into that one, but that's fine. I'll rip the Texans for a wheel of punishment here. We've only gotten 2 votes so far, and one was something about chopping my left arm and my right leg off. So again, that's not happening. And the second one is Jared singing Mr. Met. He still owes that. So
Yeah, that one is still very much happening.
Come on.
yeah, so you got to sing Mr. Met. But yeah, so we'll keep that up. Everybody, when you're listening, go to the Facebook page and or the Instagram, email us, whatever you want to do, send us a message, check out our post about the Wheel of Punishment and give us some ideas of what you guys want us to do. And with that, we'll move on to the Lions and the Dolphins. Chase, you got the Lions. Jared, you got the Lions.
I am not picking Brock Osweiler to win this game. I'm sorry. It was a fluke. I have a funny stat. You're only going to get these stats on Call to the Bullpen. Brock Osweiler, for his starts, every time he has started, he's played the Bears, and he's beat the Bears every time. So he started for the Texans, beat the Bears. Started for the Broncos. First game starting for either of these teams, beat the Bears. Started for the Dolphins, he beat the Bears.
Wow. That's irony.
That's impressive.
So Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my, he beats the Bears, he loses to the Lions.
That's right. That's Dorothy logic for you.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. The Wicked Witch is going to intervene in this one and make sure the Dolphins fly to Kansas or something.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am going to click my heels for Miami. I'm changing my pick. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Miami is better in Miami. Even though Detroit has extra rest, this team, with Brock Osweiler still, put up 31 points, and they gashed the Bears on the ground. They gashed them through the air, and the Bears are a much better defense than Detroit. Much better. Even though Detroit has extra rest coming into this game, I was leaning toward them at first, but you know what? The Dolphins, if they were able to win with a full game from Osweiler against the Bears with Khalil Mack, I'm confident
who was hurt.
Yeah. I'm confident that, again, coming in against Detroit, and the Dolphins' schedule is about to get a lot harder, too, because here's their next few games, just so everybody knows. They're playing at Houston on a Thursday night, not a favorable situation going on the road on a short week. They play the Jets. Very hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year. Then they go to Green Bay. So the next 3 weeks, kind of up in the air. They need to get to 5-2 here, I think, if they want to have any shot in the division, just because you can feel the Pats starting to build themselves up. So I'm going to say that Miami will win once again. Brocktober, baby!
God, I hope not.
I know, seriously, that is the worst thing that I want to do is deal with that. So the Lions, I'm picking on this one. Chase, same thing.
You know what's going to happen, too, if Brock Osweiler wins this game. All the Broncos people are going to be like, oh, we should have kept Brock.
You messed up.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God, it would be horrible.
So, Wheel of Punishment?
Absolutely. Add it to the one.
I feel like I just backed him into that.
For me or Brock Osweiler?
I wish it was for Brock, but I'll have to settle with you.
If it was, I feel like Chase would tie him to 4 horses and drag him through the center of town. Or Broncos.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly.
So, all right.
Feathered.
So, Jared, there you go. This is your Wheel of Punishment. If the Dolphins lose, we'll figure out something for you to do other than saying Mr. Met. And the next one we're going to move on to is the Vikings and the Jets.
Yep.
I think we're all ripping the Vikings here.
Funny story about this, though.
I don't hate the Jets here.
I don't hate them either. And
Yeah.
here's why. This is a personal game for the Jets, everybody, because Kirk Cousins, he was negotiating with the Jets, but he essentially just used them as leverage to get more money out of Minnesota, and then he left $90 million guaranteed on the table, went over to the Vikings after they initially lowballed him a little bit. So the Jets kind of have to feel like they got played a little bit in the offseason, and they would love to beat Cousins. They would love to throw the Viking season into disarray at 3-3-1.
And I think they can beat the Cousins.
They can.
The Vikings have not looked strong on defense.
Nope.
The Jets are surging right now, playing at home again.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the Jets winning this game. In fact, I'm gonna take the Jets. This is gonna be my switch. I've been talking down the Vikings all year, how they're not playing up to par and they're not playing like they should be playing. I'm gonna take the Jets here. I'm gonna be sorry about it. I guarantee it. But I'm gonna go with the Jets.
You know what? I'm going to stick with my Vikings prediction. I do think still that this is a game where, much like the Cardinals game, although to a lesser extent because the Jets are gaining a little bit of momentum, the Vikings, after putting themselves in the early hole, they really need to win games like this if they want.
I was going to say, is this almost like a you have to? I don't want to say you have to. It's not like you're going to miss the playoffs if you lose this game. But like, I feel like the Vikings almost have to win this game to keep the faith, to keep the momentum, to keep the camaraderie in the locker room.
If Aaron Rodgers is going to pull off miracles like this and the Bears are going to continue to play tough, they have to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, yeah, are you dead at 3-3-1? No, but look, it's the Vikings. They came in with expectations. Do you want to be that team that's squeaking along and hoping that the stars align on week 17, or do you want to be a quality football team that looks strong?
Right. Are you going for the division, or are you going for the wild card?
Exactly. So I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
I think that next up we got the Panthers at the Eagles. This one I spent a lot of time thinking about. This one really, I wanted to go with the Eagles. I like the Eagles at home, but I think Cam's going to come back after that loss. So I'm going to take the Panthers here and hope that Cam and Christian McCaffrey and Luke Kuechly can get this team on the right step.
I like Philly playing at home with extra rest coming into this game, especially the way Carson Wentz looked against the Giants on that Thursday night game. I think the Eagles are starting to build a little bit of momentum. For the first time this year, everything came together for them offensively, and much like I've been saying about Carolina, they need McCaffrey to take care of business, and to that point, McCaffrey has to be licking his chops after seeing what Saquon did to the Eagles in that Thursday night game, and that's a game where the Giants failed in every other aspect of football. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a huge momentum builder for the winner. And I think Carolina, this is a big opportunity for them because they're a game behind the Saints right now. And with the Saints facing a tough road matchup, they could tie for the lead. But I do like Philly at home.
Yeah, and I like Philly at home. They got a little momentum, going from the last week here. So I definitely think I'm going to take Philly with this one. The Panthers are just too up and down, and I think the Eagles will really pull this one off. So we're going to move on to the Browns and the Buccaneers. I think we're all riding the dog pound Browns train here. What do we think?
Yeah, Jameis Winston did make the Bucs look a lot better last week, but I just like the Browns, and I like picking the Browns, so I'm going to pick the Browns.
It's fun.
This is a good opportunity for a rebound performance from Baker. I mean, the Bucs defense hasn't been able to stop anybody all season, and this was kind of an anomaly as far as their defensive performance against the Chargers. So I look for them to rebound a little bit here. And the Browns are still kind of a dark horse wildcard contender at this point. And while the Bucs aren't totally dead in the water, they've really haven't looked right the last several weeks after the Fitzmagic wore off. So I like Baker to get back on track here, get a win.
And I'm definitely sticking with the Browns with this. Like we keep saying, they're fun to watch. They're fun to pick. I really just want to see a lot of success out of these guys. And I just think that they'll pull it off over the Bucs. The Bucs are just really weak this year, and I know they're at home, but the Browns just have so much momentum going, and even the games that they lose are very close. They've held teams on defense. They've scored points on offense. They have the tools. They just really need to mix them all together, and they could definitely pull off games. The over-under is 50 in this game, which is a little absurd. I don't think it'll be that high scoring of a game. But yeah, the Browns will definitely pull this one off on the road. So with that, we'll move over to the Saints and the Ravens. Jared, you had a interesting point about this Saints-Ravens game. You both, Jared and Chase, are both taking the Ravens. I'm taking the Saints. But Jared, what were you talking about before about Drew Brees beating every team in the NFL, something like that?
So Drew Brees, if the Saints win this game, he will become just the third quarterback in NFL history to beat all 32 NFL teams. And by the way, this is kind of funny because he has been stuck in this purgatory for the last 4 years because the last time the Saints played the Ravens, they lost, and in that game, he had the same opportunity. So the Ravens have been the ghost that's been haunting Drew Brees throughout his entire career, the one team that he hasn't been able to beat the time he's been with the Saints.
Another Alfred Hitchcock horror?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it must
guess
be
what?
The birds.
It's going to happen again because I got the Ravens.
I agree.
They're at home. They got a stellar defense that we've been talking about all evening.
Elite defense.
And Drew Brees, he doesn't play as well away, especially outside. He's outside of the Mercedes Dome or whatever you call that thing.
Yep, he's out. It's not the Superdome. It's mid-October, starting to become late October. Halloween's creeping closer. The air is getting a little brisk.
A little chilly.
The air's a little chilly for those dome teams. You might freeze up against that tough John Harbaugh defense. And I think that's what's going to happen. The Saints, they're 4-1. They've had a great start, but you know what? That means they're due for a loss. And they don't play as well on the road. And the Ravens are building momentum with that defense, which at this moment, like we said, is top ranked in the league. So this is a chance for the Ravens to assert themselves as we're a legit Super Bowl contender if we win this game. And I like this matchup for them at home. I really do.
Absolutely. Next off, we have a divisional round, the Cowboys at the Redskins, and this is for first place in the NFC East.
Yes, this is for all the bragging rights and for Jerry Jones' gift card to Outback Steakhouse. It's all on the table here.
I've got the Redskins here, and I'm going to actually change that over to the Cowboys. I know, meaty. I'm going to change it to the Cowboys because I think the Cowboys are going to beat them on the ground. I think they're going to just use Zeke to obliterate them.
I agree.
30, 35 carries, I'm calling. Maybe 35 touches because they have been using him in the passing game a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this could be a real ground and pound game. You might see an Adrian Peterson versus Ezekiel Elliott, little old versus new. That'd be something exciting. Alex Smith doesn't really excite me, and I think that if they do go with the passing game for the Redskins, they have a pretty good pass rush, and the Dallas Cowboys do in that front seven. I wouldn't be surprised if you got a couple sacks, maybe a couple turnovers. I'm going to take the Cowboys here.
I'm not. I'm sticking with the Redskins. Not even the whole it's at home, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think the Cowboys have what it takes to pull it off. They're so on and off this year. They're so hot and cold, hot and cold. We either are an absolutely terrible team and can't put up any stats, or we're one of the better teams in the league and we're killing everybody. So, I mean, I definitely don't see the Cowboys pulling this one off. I see Zeke running the ball just as much as you said, but, maybe a couple turnovers here and there, and Dak throwing an interception. I see the Redskins pulling this one off, not by a lot, maybe a field goal or a touchdown, but the Cowboys don't win this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Redskins have overachieved a little bit this season, like I said earlier in the program, and Adrian Peterson, he has been pretty much a model of inconsistency this season. I mean, with his age, it's to be expected, but Ezekiel Elliott is one of the elite running backs in the NFL. He's 100% a top 5 guy at this point, and he's shown the ability to put the Cowboys on his back to get, lead them to wins in the past. Doesn't make the Cowboys a dominant team, but I certainly think that they can do enough to beat their longtime rival, the Redskins, in a game that actually, recent years, these games haven't meant a whole lot necessarily. But yeah, I like the Cowboys defense in this game. I trust them a lot more than I trust Washington's. And if they're able to get after Alex Smith, he's not the hardest guy in the world as far as limiting his production. But then again, Dak Prescott doesn't do anything too flashy either. So it will come down to the running backs, and I trust Zeke much more than I trust Adrian Peterson and whoever else Washington wants to throw out there. So yeah, Cowboys get to 4-3.
Rams 49ers. I swear to God, if the 49ers are the reason the Rams go 6-1 this week, I'm going to blow a gasket. The 49ers are not a good team, especially with a backup quarterback, let alone without Bethard in there.
Well, let's just put it how it is. They're 9.5 home underdogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Vegas knows that this is a 2-touchdown game at least.
Yeah.
I'm going. I mean, it's all sails ahead for the Rams.
I mean, after what Rodgers did to the Niners on Monday night, even though they had to eke it out, he still was able to put up the yards. And again, Goff was bottled up against the Broncos. So this could, he's looking to have a rebound performance here, and especially Gurley riding that momentum. The offense, the Rams just have a first-class offense, and they're going to be way too much.
First class, they're flying the damn plane.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not even in first class. They own the jet. There is no class. They're in a class of their own. They are unreal this year, and yeah. I mean there was a few upsets so far this year that were a little astronomical. This would be the upset of the century.
Sure.
If the 49ers pull off beating the Rams. I know the Rams are not at home, but I mean the only way the Rams don't win this game is literally if they start their third string everybody, because they're like, whatever, we're going to win anyways.
Yeah, the Rams are going to lose at some point, but it's not this week.
It's no way is it this week. So
we got a good one on Sunday night, though. Hey, how about this? A good primetime game. How about that, guys?
What do you mean?
We did
Chiefs, Pats.
Pats was
before that, we had a lot of bad ones.
First week was Bears, Packers.
Packers with the comeback.
I think what you're messing up is Sunday night has been good. Monday night has been terrible, even though bad. The 49ers put up a game against the Packers.
It was a little exciting for what it could have been.
A little bit of that. Bengals-Chiefs game should be pretty good.
Chiefs get another primetime, huh?
Yeah, well, I think this one was switched. To be completely honest, I may be wrong, so I apologize if I'm incorrectly quoting myself. But I'm almost positive it was either this coming week or week 8 that the Chiefs game was supposed to be a day game, and they switched it to the night game and switched somebody else off.
Yeah, they do that just for ratings.
Correct,
obviously.
And the Chiefs were undefeated up until this week, and they could have been 6-0 going into play the 4-2.
I mean, it's still a good game no matter what.
It's still a great game no matter what. So, I mean, but again, so I think this one was switched to the primetime game. So
much better than that other primetime game.
Yeah, right.
The one on Monday night.
Yeah,
we'll get into that in a minute. We'll get to it in a minute, guys.
It's the Giants game, if anybody's wondering. But yeah, so I again, as always, have to keep riding the Chiefs. It is somewhat by choice, but somewhat by force. My fiance is standing next to me with a knife to my throat. I'm joking.
Choice force.
Yeah, exactly. Force joke. What? Darth Vader. Anyways, yeah, Chiefs.
I got the Chiefs here too. I think that they are an elite talent on the offensive side with a terrible defense, but they're going to outscore the Bengals.
Yeah, the Chiefs' offense just has way too much momentum right now. I mean, they just can't be stopped. They're just running train on everybody. We've yet to see that happen where they've been limited even in the slightest. So I just don't think Cincinnati's going to be able to keep up, even though Andy Dalton's been pretty solid this season. Joe Mixon, we know he's a quality running back that adds an extra dimension to that offense. I just don't think it's enough for them to, put up the 40-plus points that you're going to need to beat the Chiefs this season. So, yeah, I like the Chiefs at Arrowhead and the bright lights.
All right, bring us on in.
The Giants will lose again to the Falcons. This miserable season continues. It's at the point now where it's like, if they win this game, I'm going to be mad.
Wait. You said they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at the screen right now, and it says you picked the Giants.
Hey, that's a typo.
I don't know. You typed this out, dude.
All right, everybody. I'm picking the Falcons in this game.
You typed out the Giants.
I don't know. All right, this is...
Subconsciously, he couldn't write that.
There's a typo on there. But you have my word, everybody.
To be completely honest, I changed
it.
Yeah, you had...
you made him question himself. He's like, did I really write that?
Yeah, because I think I caught...
Because he picks the Giants in the dumbest games ever.
I think I caught myself a little bit. But now, listen, they're playing out at this point, the tank should be in full force here. And even if they are trying... they're not going to be able to outscore the Falcons. This offense has looked mostly non-functional. Is Saquon going to rip off a couple big runs that the Giants' Twitter is going to go crazy over and hype up because they have literally nothing else to brag about? Yeah, probably. The Falcons do have a bad defense. They're very limited with all the injuries. But are they going to be able to do enough to stop this offense at home when they've won one game this season? No.
Let me put a scenario in your brain for a second. It's 28-3 at half. Does Eli get taken out of the game?
Who they got?
Was it their third round draft pick?
Fourth round. Listen, Lauletta,
whatever his name is.
It was a waste of a pick. We know this kid is not going to be anything in the league. It's not like you have a quality rookie sitting on the bench, a first-round pick that you thought, like, okay, maybe if things go south, you can get him into games this season. The Giants don't have a legitimate option on their bench. That kid is an insurance policy, and that's it. And, I mean, I'm not saying that the Giants aren't going to look at other quarterbacks, but I think that comes in the offseason. I don't think that they're going to bench Eli unless it gets to the point where Eli is literally performing like Peterman out there, which, listen, for all of the struggles this year, it's mostly been the dink and dunks. It's not like the guy is wildly throwing interception after interception.
All right. I also have the Falcons. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I'm, again, not going with the Giants because they keep losing. So I'm going to stick with the Falcons.
I'll tell you what, though. In my heart, I am rooting for the Giants for you.
Oh, of course. I mean, I root for the Giants every week. I wear my Giants jersey. You saw me playing football in my Giants jersey a couple weeks ago. I'm always pulling for the Giants, but I just don't see them pulling it off for me.
Yeah, got no faith left, guys. No faith left. Okay, now that the previews are out of the way, it's now time for the moment you've all been waiting for. The moment of the week.
I'll go first. We briefly touched on it earlier, speaking about the Raiders and how they're looking to trade pretty much everybody on the team. How ridiculous is it that the Raiders were actually planned to play relatively, if not very well this season? A lot of momentum coming in with Gruden coming into the locker room. Khalil Mack, one of the best defensive players in the league. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, Marshawn Lynch, all these guys. I mean, big name guys. Great team. Jordy Nelson. I mean, you could keep throwing the names out there of the players on this team. And now they're apparently, reportedly, shopping Amari Cooper because, I mean, of course they are. Why wouldn't they? They're the Raiders. We don't need a defense. Let's give Khalil Mack away. Screw an offense. Let's give Amari Cooper away. Anybody want Derek Carr? Hell, I'm a Giants fan. I'll take him if you want a bag of double bubble. I mean, what are you getting for these guys? You're just going to dump your whole team and maybe take 5-10 years to rebuild it? I don't understand how you can come in. John Gruden, I mean, all right, I mean, fine. He's got a 10-year contract. Maybe that's what he's doing. He's dumping the whole team so he can get a bunch of rookies in there and plan for 8 years down the road and go out with a bang winning a Super Bowl. I mean, it's a little ballsy to just dump your entire team or at least put them all up in the trade block. It doesn't really look good for the locker room. It doesn't make anybody feel good. It doesn't. If I was in that locker room, I sure as hell wouldn't want to be there. I'd be the first one walking into the GM's office saying, you know what, get me out of here for whatever you can get me out of here for, because I don't really care at this point. I wouldn't want to be on a team that's just willing to dump the entire team to start over when they have talent.
No, of course not.
Chase?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on this one a little bit, and it's funny for everyone. And if you're listening now and you've got your phone out or you're at a computer, please, I want you to type in this website, okay?
I know what you're talking about.
It is GrudenGoneYet.com. Yes, that's right. IsGrudenGoneYet.com. You get to the website, and there's a big no in front of it, and then
there's a countdown.
Yes, there's a countdown for how many years left on his contract, and it says 9 years, 13 weeks, 14 hours, 24 minutes, and the clock is ticking. It tells you how much he's made since you've entered the website, and how much is left in his total. And then how much he is still owed, which is a whopping $92 million currently. So please go check out isgrudengonyet.com. That's my old moment.
That is phenomenal. I think the old moment has to go to Gruden, but the golden trophy or something goes to whoever made the website, because this is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Probably a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Or a Chiefs fan, let's be honest.
That's wonderful. But I got one. My old moment goes to none other than Geno Smith. Geno Smith, who after the Giants debacle against the Eagles goes, "Y'all owe my boy Mac an apology." Like, yeah, we were too hard on Ben McAdoo. And listen, the biggest fallacy of last season was that Ben McAdoo got fired for benching Eli Manning, and not the fact that this team that came into last season with real playoff expectations went, at the time of his firing, 2-10. This team, they were horrible last season, and McAdoo lost the locker room, lost all of the players' faith in him, couldn't manage a game, couldn't get anything out of anybody. And yes, the injuries happened, but he was a god-awful head coach, and everybody knew it. But yet Geno Smith is saying, like, oh, we owe Ben McAdoo an apology for leading the Giants to complete ineptitude and failure throughout last season, which, by the way, was the worst season in the history of the New York Giants franchise, statistically, most losses they've ever had. But yeah, we were being too hard on Ben McAdoo. And why are we being too hard on Ben McAdoo? Because Geno Smith says so. Hey, Geno Smith, who are you playing for? What's your job? Your job right now is to complain on Twitter. That's what it is. So shut your mouth and go back to your couch.
Well, that's definitely enough Giants talk for this podcast.
Wow. Call to the Giants bench.
Yeah, call the Giants bench.
I'm going to say the same thing about this team the rest of the season. Oh, well, maybe they tried. Next season is this much closer. Maybe I'll start my own website. I'm going to start my own website called Is Next Season Here Yet?
I love it. Check it out now. isnextseasonhereyet.com. It'll be uploaded or online.
Yeah.
And that wraps up episode 14 of Call to the Bullpen podcast. As always, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Stitcher, Libsyn, iTunes, Spotify, and am I missing any?
Like, subscribe, share.
Exactly. Like, subscribe, share, comment, send some feedback. When you check us out on iTunes, there is a spot to review us. Please give us 5 stars on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up on all of our, if not any of the videos that you watch. They are audio videos, so our logo's in the background, but you can listen to each episode as an audio file. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Subscribe to our Spotify page if you have Spotify Premium. The whole 9 yards, as always. Comment, share, tag your friends, whatever you want to do on our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter.
Get us over 500 followers on Instagram. We've grown like 100 in the last week. Let's try to get over 500, and then we'll keep making goals.
The 500th follower will get a free ice cream.
Don't promise things you can't give.
Yeah, Jared won't give anybody a free ice cream. I've tried. Trust me, he doesn't buy anybody anything.
Something to do with his heritage.
Let's not go there.
Wow. Wow.
You're Italian, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tony Pajamas.
Oh, my God. Anyways.
This is Call to the Bullpen.
And we are hanging up.